I stood in front of my stepfather and his son as they packed their bags into a rental truck. 30 days ago, they called me a stranger. Now they were being forced out of the house my mother left to me, the same house they swore I would never step foot in again. Do you know what my stepfather said when I demanded my grandmother's wedding ring back? He said, "That ring is mine." But when the lawyer read the will, every eye in that room turned on him, because my mother made sure I would get it all. If you have ever been betrayed by your own family, subscribe right now and tell me in the comments, do you believe family is about blood or about love? Let me take you back to where this story began. 5 days before Christmas, I thought I was finally going home. After 10 years in the army, after serving overseas, all I wanted was one holiday with my family. But then I got a text from my stepfather. "Richard." 7 words that shattered everything. "Do not bother coming. This family moved on."
I stared at the screen, my hands trembling, but not with sadness. Strangely, I felt relief, because deep down, I had always known they never wanted me there. I typed back one word. "Fine." Then I turned off my phone. But destiny has a way of pulling you where you are meant to be. 5 days later, I woke up to 10 missed calls. Some were from relatives who had not spoken to me in years, but one was from a lawyer I had never heard of. Her message was short, but urgent. "Miss Carter, you must come to my office tomorrow at 2 p.m. for the reading of your mother's will. Your presence is legally required." My mother's will. The words hit me harder than any explosion I faced in Iraq, because no one had told me my mother was gone. 2 years. For 2 years she had been buried in the ground, and no one thought I deserved to know. I listened to the voicemail 3 times, hoping I misunderstood, but there was no mistake.
My mother had died while I was serving my country, and my family had erased me from the truth. When I arrived at the law office in downtown Denver, every seat was taken. Aunts, uncles, cousins, people I had not seen since before deployment, all of them dressed in black, as if they were still mourning. At the head of the table sat Richard, in a tailored suit, with his son Ethan beside him. They looked smug, whispering and shuffling papers. When I walked in, silence fell. 20 pairs of eyes turned toward me. I was wearing simple jeans and a button-down shirt. I had not known to wear black. "What is she doing here?" Ethan stood up, his chair scraping the floor. Richard's confident smile twisted into shock. "I told you not to come." "I am not here for Christmas," I said, taking the only empty seat across from them. "I am here for my mother." Whispers rippled around the room. Some shook their heads. Others pointed at me. "She abandoned her poor mother," Richard's sister muttered, loud enough for all to hear. But then the lawyer walked in. She looked right at me, nodded, and said, "Good. We can begin." Richard adjusted his suit jacket and stood tall, like he owned the room. "Ms. Johnson, there must be some mistake," he said. "Emily is not family anymore. She made that choice when she left." His words stung, but I kept my face calm. I had heard that same speech since I was a kid. He never missed a chance to remind me I was not his blood. Ethan smirked from his chair. "She is not even real family," he added. Just like in high school, when he called me the charity case, the lawyer did not flinch. "Emily Carter is named specifically in the will. She has every legal right to be here." The room stirred. Some relatives leaned forward, whispering. Others shook their heads. Richard laughed, bitter and loud. "She did not even come to the funeral." For 2 years, Linda was gone. And where was she? Playing soldier in the desert. Gasps filled the room. I clenched my fists under the table. What they never admitted was that they kept me in the dark. For 2 months, my mother was in hospice. I sent emails begging for updates. Every reply came from Richard. "She is fine. Focus on your duty." It was a lie I swallowed because I had no choice. The last time I saw my mom was at the airport. She hugged me tight, whispered in my ear, "I am proud of you. You are stronger than all of them combined." At the time, I thought she meant the war. Now I realized she meant surviving my own family. Richard slammed his hand on the table, shaking water glasses. "She abandoned Linda, and now she shows up wanting money. It is disgusting." Several relatives nodded, even a few of my mom's own cousins. The story had been told so many times. They believed it. The absent daughter who loved her uniform more than her mother. But Martha Johnson, the lawyer, cleared her throat. "We are not here to rehash family arguments," she said. "We are here to read Linda Carter's final wishes." Richard smirked again, leaning back like he had already won. "Linda and I had a simple agreement," he said. "Everything to the surviving spouse." "Not exactly," Martha replied, pulling out a sealed envelope. Richard's smile faltered. She laid the envelope flat on the polished table. "There is a codicil added 2 weeks before Linda passed." The room exploded in whispers. Ethan jumped up, pointing. "That is impossible. She was on medication. She was not in her right mind." Martha did not blink. "I have affidavits from 2 physicians and the hospice director. Linda was of sound mind and very clear." Richard's face drained of color. For 2 years he had been living off my mother's savings. He thought he had locked down the house, the investments, even the insurance. But the way he looked at that envelope told me one thing. He knew something inside was about to ruin him, and I could not wait to hear it. Because if you think the room was tense now, wait until you hear what happened when the lawyer broke that seal. Martha broke the seal slowly, like she knew the weight of every second. The room leaned forward, even the ones who had been whispering against me. Out came not 1 paper, but 3. The first was the will. The second was a handwritten letter from my mom, and the third was inside a clear plastic sleeve, like it belonged in a courtroom. Richard's jaw tightened. He knew exactly what that meant. Martha spoke calmly, but her words cut sharp. 3 weeks before her death, Linda Carter came to me privately. She was very specific about her instructions. Whispers shot around the table. Aunt Joanne leaned forward. "But Richard said it was simple. Everything went to him." Martha gave her a small smile. "Your sister wanted to make sure her wishes were documented, without interference." Richard stood so fast his chair toppled. "This is inappropriate. Linda was weak. She was on morphine. She had no idea what she was signing." Martha raised an eyebrow. "Funny, because Linda insisted on recording our meeting. She wanted her daughter Emily to hear her voice again." The blood drained from Richard's face. "You recorded her." "She recorded herself," Martha corrected. "She said trust, but verify." I felt my throat tighten. My mom had thought of me, even in her last weeks. Richard's sister whispered, "Wait, Richard, you said she could barely type." Martha pulled out a stack of printed emails. "Linda found these in her deleted folder. They are emails Emily sent that never reached her. She also brought me these." She set down another stack. Emails sent from Linda's account, but written by Richard, telling relatives Emily wanted no contact. Gasps spread around the room like fire. Uncle John slammed his fist on the table. "You told us she cut her mother off. You lied to all of us." Richard's voice cracked. "I was protecting Linda. She was too fragile." Martha tapped the plastic sleeve. "Or maybe you were protecting your loan application. 2 days after Linda entered hospice, a loan was filed against this house for $150,000. It required 2 signatures. I have reason to believe one was forged." The room erupted, relatives shouting, some defending, others demanding answers. Ethan jumped in, his face red. "That is a lie." Mom was confused. She was not in her right mind. But Aunt Joanne snapped back. "The cancer never touched her brain. I was at every appointment." The lawyer's calm voice rose above the noise. "Linda wanted no doubt about her capacity, which is why she recorded a video message. Do you want me to play it now?" Richard shouted. "No, This is manipulation. She was drugged. But half the room spoke at once. Play it. My chest ached, my hands trembling as Martha reached for the iPad. On the screen, my mother's face appeared. She was thinner, but her eyes were clear, steady, unafraid. My name is Linda Carter, she began. Today is November 15th, 2021. I am of sound mind and body despite my diagnosis. I need my daughter Emily to know the truth. Richard lunged toward the iPad, but Uncle John blocked him. Sit down, Richard. And my mom's voice continued. What she revealed next silenced the entire room. My mother's voice filled the room. I know Richard has not told Emily I am dying. I found the deleted emails. I found the unreturned calls. He has been telling everyone that my daughter abandoned me. That is a lie. The room froze. You could have heard a pin drop. Aunt Joanne gasped, covering her mouth with both hands. Mom's voice was calm, but steady. To be clear, I am leaving 65% of my estate to my daughter, Emily Carter. This includes the house at 14 Maple Street, the savings account, and all personal belongings of sentimental value. Richard and Ethan will receive 35% combined. That is more than generous, considering the loan Richard took without my knowledge. Martha paused the video for a moment, giving everyone a chance to absorb what they had just heard. Richard jumped up. This is fraud. She was manipulated. Emily tricked her. Martha stayed seated, her face unreadable. Emily was in Iraq at the time, verified by military records. Ethan slammed his fist on the table. She is not even blood. Mom felt sorry for her. She took in a charity case. That is all she ever was. My nails dug into my palms. I had heard those words since childhood. But this time was different. Because now, my mom's own voice was playing for everyone to hear. The lawyer pressed play again. On the screen, my mom leaned closer to the camera. Richard, if you are hearing this, you know what you did. You forged my signature. You drained $40,000 from my retirement. You bought Ethan a Cadillac while I was in chemotherapy. If you contest this will, Martha has my permission to press criminal charges. Gasps filled the air again. Uncle John shook his head, furious. You stole from a dying woman. Richard. Richard's face turned red, sweat dripping down his forehead. It is not true. She was confused. She did not understand what she was saying. But then my mom's voice cut through his lies. Ethan, you are 37 years old. You have never worked more than 6 months in your life. I am leaving you $20,000 and my blessing to start over. Do not waste it. Ethan's smirk vanished. He looked like a child caught with his hand in the cookie jar. A few relatives chuckled nervously, but most were in shock. On screen, my mother held up a photo of me at my army graduation. This is my daughter, she said firmly. This is my legacy, not the lies, not the forged papers. Emily is my daughter in every way that matters. Tears burned my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Richard lunged forward again, shouting, Turn it off. This is not valid. She was not in her right mind. But the video was still rolling. One more thing, my mom said, her voice stronger than ever. Richard and Ethan must vacate the house within 30 days of this reading. If they fail to leave, or if they contest, their inheritance is forfeited and will go to the Veterans Foundation in Emily's name. The video faded to black. The silence afterward was deafening. Everyone stared at Richard and Ethan, waiting for their reaction. And what happened next made the whole room erupt. Richard's face turned purple. He pounded the table so hard the water glasses jumped. This is not fair. She was manipulated. None of this counts. But his voice was cracking. No one in that room believed him anymore. Even his own sister pulled her hand away when he tried to lean on her. Martha set the envelope down and folded her hands. Richard, this is a legally binding document. Any attempt to fight it will trigger criminal charges for forgery and fraud. You can leave with 35%, or you can walk away with nothing. The choice is yours. The fight drained out of him in that moment. Ethan stared down at the table, silent for the first time all afternoon. And me. I sat taller than I had in years. because for the first time, the truth was louder than the lies. When the meeting ended, I signed the transfer papers with steady hands, the same hands that had carried rifles in war, the same hands that had saluted fallen friends. Now they were signing my mother's house back to me. As relatives left, some apologized, others hugged me. Aunt Joanne had tears in her eyes.
"We should have known," she whispered. "Your mom talked about you all the time. We let Richard twist the story. We are so sorry." I nodded. "He fooled everyone," I said. "He even convinced me I was not wanted." 3 weeks later, I stood on the porch of that house, watching Richard and Ethan load the last of their things into a truck. They did not look smug anymore. They looked small, and I finally understood what my mom meant at the airport years ago. "You are stronger than all of them combined." She was right, because strength is not just surviving the battlefield. It is standing up when your own family tries to erase you. It is claiming your place, even when others say you do not belong. Today, that house is alive again. Every Sunday, I host dinners with friends, neighbors, and other veterans. We laugh around the same table where Richard once shouted me down. And I started the Linda Carter Foundation using part of the inheritance. It helps female veterans find housing and rebuild their lives after service. My mom's dream is living on, bigger than Richard ever imagined. And that is the lesson I want to leave you with. Family is not always blood. Sometimes family is the people who choose you, who stand with you, who fight for you when no one else will. Never let anyone tell you that you do not belong, because love leaves evidence. In letters saved, in memories cherished, in voices recorded so the truth cannot be erased. So let me ask you, if your own family betrayed you, would you forgive them, or would you walk away forever? And who do you believe deserves inheritance more? The people with shared blood, or the ones who showed real love? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. If this story hit you in the heart, hit the like button right now, and make sure you subscribe, so you never miss more stories like this one. Because sometimes the best revenge is not revenge at all. It is living well, holding your head high, and letting the truth speak louder than the lies.